Bracket number 2. 63% of millennials.
Millennials? I thought it was millennial. Millennials?
What is it?
You said millennial.
63% of millennials who bought homes have regrets, usually because they missed this one crucial step. So this is a CNBC article. The step, we'll just cut right to it. The step that they're referring to is underestimating the hidden costs associated with buying and owning a home, including the ongoing responsibilities of maintaining it, is the number one millennial homeowner frustration. And I'll just give you a couple other interesting stats. 63%, so nearly 2/3 of the millennials ages 23 to 38 that have bought a home, that are homeowners, have this regret, while only 35% of baby boomers who are homeowners say the same, and about 50% of Gen Xers, that 39 to 54 group, have the same remorse. So, 50% of Gen Xers is a lot, and then certainly 63% of millennials. Now, a lot of these millennials are first-time home buyers, so the baby boomers probably bought and sold a few times.
Yep.
So
it was also much more difficult, I believe, for baby boomers to purchase homes when they bought it, though, too. I mean, you were really doing 20% down. I mean, you were much more frugal. The interest rates were at like 20%. So, I mean, you were definitely having to make much logical decisions, and ones that, weren't.
Well, I find this all the time with first-time home buyers that, and a lot of times they understand their closing costs because it's they're trying to figure out how to make that payment and get that offer right. And so they're having a lot of conversation with their lender, and they do go in have an understanding on what that's going to mean for a monthly payment anyways, if they're paying points, the total closing cost to close the deal. They get that. What they don't understand is how much money it costs on top of your monthly payment to be a good homeowner, to actually have some pride in home ownership, to actually maintain your HVAC system, to actually maintain your furnace, to actually make sure your roof stays in good shape, to keep your landscaping up. A lot of people will buy their first home, and it's, that homeowner maybe was a baby boomer and the place was dialed in, the landscaping was perfect, everything looked great. You drive by 2 years later and it looks like a dumping ground, right? Because you've got two millennials that work all the time and that are out drinking lattes and doing all this kind of stuff, right? Doing whatever they're doing. And their home ends up looking like trash. This is the classic example. Millennial goes out, buys a home, immediately gets 3 dogs, gets some ugly fence to keep the dogs, from running out of the yard, and the dogs ruin the place, completely ruin the house, and because they're focused on the dog, and they don't see it, right? They don't realize that their house is now trash, that it smells like dog. I'm just beating up on the dogs a little bit here. Don't come after me, PETA.
No.
But this is just the truth,
people
right?
People like their dogs.
People like their dogs. You walk around their yard, there's nothing but landmines all over the frickin' place. They don't care about the landscape, and they don't care about anything. Then they go to sell the house.
Aren't you a millennial? You're like a millennial.
I am.
You're having dogs trash your house and drinking lattes?
I don't have any dogs, and I drink cappuccino. So big difference there between me and my millennial peers, all right?
Okay.
You don't see this? You don't see people just come. I see it the other way, where people do obviously respect and maintain their home, but they just literally may not have the money to pay someone else to landscape, and then they run out of time, and so the landscaping is the first thing I see that usually goes to shit.
Of course. Well, I think what's interesting is that I'm sort of in the middle. Even at my own house, I mean, between kids and the size, I mean, you drive by my house in the spring and I'm not weeding. I mean, you totally underestimate the cost of, especially in my mind, landscaping. I mean,
every homeowner, no matter what age group you're in, you should be putting in 1% to 3% of the value of your home a year back into your home. And this isn't upgrades, guys. This is just maintenance, right? Like if you have a wood shingle home, it should be painted every 4 to 5 years.
Well, and what's really interesting, though, too, on that topic is that and that doesn't necessarily make your home worth more, people.
That's what I mean. It does not make it worth more.
I just can't even. There's some people that like I bought it for this, and I've put this much money into it, and it's really just been like paint.
I painted it 3 times.
And you're just you don't get your paint back.
If you if you have a $500,000 home, that means on money you never get back. If you have a $500,000 home, that you should be putting $5,000 to $15,000 back into your home every single year on maintenance. That means getting your furnace service. That means if there's wood, painting. We have a homeowner right now who they paint a room every single year. They're painting another interior room of their house. They're keeping it up perfectly because they're maintaining their value. They're not adding to, right?
Right.
So, or your faucet doesn't last you 30 years.
No.
Right? A kitchen faucet doesn't last 30 years. A toilet seat may not last you 30 years. A toilet may not last you 30 years. There's a lot of things that don't last 30 years. So every year you got to fix a few things. Maybe you've got, a window that's not on warranty that got the little bit of, leak going through the thermopane section there. That kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff you got to fix all the time.
That's why you rent.
This is why, this is why there's a lot of people renting. Absolutely. Because that cost is on the person that owns the property that's paying the taxes.
So definitely an interesting read. I'm curious of the millennials that are watching if you underestimated the cost, or are you up against something? Because I'm certain that there's been at this point then in their lives a trade-off.
And it ties into our last topic. If you're buying a home, do you have a good buyer agent? Even though I say they're devalued, but they're devalued because of how many people are doing a poor job representing buyers. Have you done your homework? Have you actually interviewed buyer agents to make sure that somebody is able to consult you through this process and help you be as prepared as you possibly can, not only buying the home, but from the day you take the keys and move forward?